I don't live in Uganda to help people, but if I can help people along the way in a natural way, like why not? I just think that that's what we're supposed to do.
I'm from a beautiful place, the Pearl of Africa, hailing with a 256. It's in my blood, that's a gem where the mountains rise, with stories untold, the tapestry of cultures unfolding, so vibrant and bold, a symphony of stars, a celestial light, the drums beating, echoing through the night, just like a beacon of light, a reflection that's coming up from the Nile. I'm flowing straight into the heart of Africa with timeless stories untold. Sup, dog?
3, 2, 1, Uganda!
That's actually even better than it's better than what anybody has ever done on the podcast. I like it.
That's what I like to hear.
Welcome once again to the Ugandan Boy Talk Show, the podcast where I'll bring you your famous people, celebrities, regular people, and anybody who wants to come on the podcast to share the story, the journey, have fun. I love when I get guests on the podcast because I get to meet them, talk to them, and have a full-on conversation. You learn something about them, and today I'm honored to have Max Noir on the podcast. Maxi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I think it's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming, and that's where we're going to start from. But before we go into that, when I'm living in America now, they teach me about name pronunciation. I think this is something you've experienced when you're in Uganda because people just call you whatever they call you, Max, Maxi. So I want to get the name right. Is it Max or Maxi? Like, what should I call you along?
It's Max, but a lot of people call me Maxi, so that can work too. Whatever makes you feel happy inside.
I'll just go with Max. Just say it right. But just like you said, it's been a long time coming. I think I reached out to you the very first time, like 2 years ago. I think it was like 2 years ago. I wanted to have you on the podcast. And you stood me up. What happened?
I'm so sorry. That makes me sound like such a jerk. Because I know I accepted your invitation. I said yes. And then I don't know what happened. It was so long ago.
You got sick. Because
Why
you
am I
reached out to
always-
me the day we were supposed to record.
Something
and you were
about
sick.
you just makes me sick.
Wow. That's a comeback. I like it.
I'm sick again, so we need to investigate.
No, but I'm glad that we're able to do it now. Thanks for reaching out to be able to do this recording. I've always wanted to have a conversation with you. I've never forgotten everything I wanted to ask you, talk to you about. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that you will say today that will benefit people, make people laugh, learn about you, people who don't know you. But when I start talking to people, I start with just some things, personal life, not in depth of your personal life, because I don't want to invade people's personal life. But I've seen on Instagram, you have a cat. I have a cat too. What's the name of your cat?
My cat is called Luambo.
Luambo?
Yeah.
How did you get to that name?
I don't know. Luambo is my favorite Ugandan name. Ugandan food. And I don't know, man. Like I take the G nut Luambo, and I think it was like something about the color of its fur that reminded me of Luambo. Plus, I thought it was funny and cute, and I thought it would make people laugh. It was between that or Lugombo. Very similar words, but very different.
But it's funny though, like when you told me, I laughed, and if that was the goal of naming it the name, you achieved the goal. So
when you're a content creator, you have to think as far as what do I name my kitten to entertain people.
Exactly. How long have you had it?
Like a week. It's brand new. It's like 4 weeks old, 5 weeks old.
Have you always had cats? Or have you always loved cats?
No. I used to hate cats. I used to like dogs. But the thing is, I'm very lonely. Yeah, I'm very
Okay.
I mean, not really, but like I like cuddles like a lot of people do. I would love to have a dog, but I am never home. So I can't take care of a dog. So I decided to get a cat because they're really easy.
Mhm. See, that's the thing where you tell people who care about dogs. I grew up with a dog, but we didn't worry about taking care of it. It just stays outside. But like when you live in America, then you're supposed to take care of that dog or do a lot of things for that dog. Whereas in Uganda, just let your go just let your dog just run around. Don't worry about it. Come back home. Go do whatever you gotta do. But yeah, I was like that. I was a dog person, but now I have a cat. The reason why I hated cats was growing up in Uganda. We had those wild cats that would cry like babies, and it's creepy as hell.
I know. Those are the ones who are in heat.
But anyway, so is that the only pet you have right now?
Yeah. I was gonna crack a joke, but I'm gonna decide against that one.
Say it. I want to hear it.
No, you know what? I'm gonna let the people try to figure this one out.
You're not gonna say. You're gonna just let people figure it out.
Yeah, let me leave it open to interpretation.
Okay, okay. I'll. Oh my god. I think I did, but let's go on. All right. So Max, in your introduction or your bio on Instagram, you are an American British artist based in Uganda.
Mhm.
And I think from my research, I saw for American side, you were from Delaware. How was your journey growing up in Delaware? I've had an honor to visit Delaware. It's just for not for a long time. Um, how was life like living and growing up in Delaware?
Mm. Well, I would love to tell you all about it, but I can't because I'm from
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Where did they get Delaware? Somebody lied to me?
I
No,
don't
I
know.
think you. No, no, no. Okay, let me tell you where I got it. So you don't know I'm lying. When you posted the rafting in Ginger,
Ah,
in your caption you said you grew up in Delaware. See, you lied
the
to us.
Delaware
Caught you red-handed.
River. That's why. I live,
Ah,
okay, I
okay,
mean, Delaware is like my neighbor state. It's right
okay.
next door. And I grew up on a river called the Delaware River.
Hmm.
So that's where you got
Okay,
it.
okay, okay. Now we're rectified, so we're not giving false information on the podcast. Grew up in Pennsylvania. How was it growing up in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it was cool. I had a cute little childhood in the middle of trees and farms. I didn't grow up in a city or a town or even a village. It was like a house in the middle of the woods. Um, yeah, small town vibes, very small schools. It was happy. It was cool. It was very homogenous. No
Mm.
diversity at all. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Somehow I think that urged me to want to like go everywhere I could possibly go.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, I don't know. I like where I live. Pennsylvania is
Yeah.
like a swing state, so it's kind of like the American state that almost always determines who the next president's going to be, so no pressure.
Yeah. I had Zion the Lion on the podcast, and she lived in Lancaster and the Mennonite, and I was giving
What?
her shit about. Yeah, in the Mennonite town is Zion, right? For NRG.
Yeah.
Yeah, she lived there. I've been to Pennsylvania too a few times, but I was mostly in Harrisburg. I had a friend who went to Penn State, so I would visit Penn State just to see my friend. And yeah, it was a long ride from Michigan to Pennsylvania in those Greyhound buses. That's what I used to use back in the day. So yeah, I've been to Pennsylvania a few times. How do you then part of your British side? Like, how does that come about?
Yeah, so my dad is English. He grew up in London, but he came to America when he was 8. So
Okay.
quite young. And then his family settled in the same area that my mom lived in. So that's how that works. I've been to the UK 3 times, and I still have a ton of family over there on my dad's side. Um, so yeah, that's essentially it. And sometimes when I have too much to drink, I I
Mhm.
get a British accent by accident, just like my dad.
Yeah,
I get that from my dad. He takes one beer, his accent comes back.
that's funny. It's funny because when I first saw you, actually, those 2 years ago when I wanted to have you on the podcast, I thought you were from Europe. Like I thought you're European, like one of those countries, and in like one of those countries from the Europe. But yeah, it's cool to learn your journey and to see where you're coming from. And how do you then decide I want to move to Uganda?
Yeah. So I guess I'm still deciding actively every day. I want to move to Uganda. It's like a never ending decision. But yeah, I lived in China for like almost 2 years and I went to,
China.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I was going to school there to uni and I was going to an international school. There were tons of people there from around Africa and tons of East Africans. I ended up with a Ugandan boyfriend in China.
Mm, nice.
So we ended up staying together and then we stayed with one other guy who's also Ugandan. So I was just like, it was so funny to be immersed in Ugandan culture while living in China. But
Hmm.
basically, between those two, my entire community of friends ended up being Ugandan and East African. And they would
Yeah.
cook food, they would play music, they would dance, and basically, like everything that they had to show me, I just really vibed with. So I decided like one day I got to make it there. I think that was like 6 or 7 years ago. And then during lockdown, I was like losing my mind. I moved back in with my mom and God bless her, we're not supposed to live together. So at one point, I was like, I need to get out of here. And all my friends from China were back in Uganda also losing their minds. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just go to Uganda and we can lose our minds together? So I booked an Airbnb for like 1 month and I moved them all inside so we could do like barbecues and drink waragi for like a whole month. And then I just like canceled my flight and never left.
Wow. Talk about a journey. Just I like that because you just go. Let's go to Uganda. And let's pack everything. Just move to Uganda and just go get an Airbnb and start life there. There's a lot of people who are scared to get out of their family, like to even leave their family. Let alone like you growing up in America with a life here in America, and then choose to go back to Uganda and just start a life there, third world country, and just leave everything and go there. But I try to tell people like, in America you have fun, but you don't know what real fun is till you go to like countries like Uganda. Then
Facts.
like fun to the core. And I think my American friends who watch this podcast or listen to it, I keep telling them that all the time, all my workmates, like you don't know what fun is till you go live in Uganda for a little bit and try that. Um, but also with that title, you are an American British artist. How do you get into music?
Music runs in the blood. My whole family is musicians, like literally the whole
Okay.
family. And not
Mm.
like moderate musicians, like extremely incredible musicians.
Yeah.
That's my mom, my dad, my sister, even my grandfather and the cousins, like everyone. So I was born into it. Um, I took piano lessons for 10 years. I took drum lessons for many years and played drums in school jazz band. And I've been singing since the day I came
Mm.
out of the womb. And I've been writing songs since I was a young kid, songs and poems.
Mm.
And songwriting and playing the piano and singing kind of became like my therapy. In high school, I would do
Mhm.
it for like 3 to 5 hours every single day. But I was very closeted about it. It was like, even if my mom was home, I couldn't play or sing. Like, no one could hear me. I was very scared. And it wasn't until like a year ago that
Mm.
I saw a window into the possibility of me doing it like professionally. And I was in a headspace at the time where I was like embracing any opportunity that came my way. So I was like, why not? If it fails, I
Mhm.
had fun.
Yeah. I like your mentality. I like your mentality. It's good. So how do you then, like, when you moved to Uganda, how you definitely didn't move to Uganda for music from what you just told us. So how do you get into the Ugandan music industry now? Because I've seen you do a few collabs. What was that journey like? Like before these collabs, like your first entering into the music industry in Uganda?
Yeah. So when I was like in my first month here, I boosted an Instagram post of me with an elephant and it went viral, which was super unexpected. And the post was basically like, hey, I'm in Uganda. Like, I'm a content creator, I'm an artist, blah, blah, blah. Hit me up if you want to work on anything together. And so through that post, I got some outreach from some public figures. And one of those people was Judith
Mhm.
Hurd. She reached out and we became very, very quick best friends. And then I ended up like moving into her house for a while. And she introduced me to a lot of people in the entertainment industry. One of those people was Beanie Gunter, and him and I became really good friends, and I became his manager for a while. So that was kind of like my intro into the Ugandan music and entertainment space. And then I
Mhm.
started hosting lots of nights around Kampala as well. So I was just like immersed in that circle of people, in the music,
Mhm.
and also like the management side of things. And the nights taught me a lot. So by the
Mhm.
time it was actually Chosen Blood's fault that I started getting into my own music. um, I had a meeting with Chosen Blood. He reached out to me about some like charity work. So we had a meeting,
Mhm.
and then after a meeting, he had a studio session. So he invited me along. I went to the session, and that's when my first song, Should I? It was like what they were working on. And I basically said, like, hey, this song would be dope if it had like a female verse. I was
Mm.
not talking about myself because at the moment I was still terrified to sing in front of
Right.
people, but they were like, do it.
Mhm.
So in that moment, I had like a small panic attack, but I calmed myself down. I was like, why not give it a try? You know, this is an opportunity, take it. So I wrote my verse, and that was the moment where I first thought, hey, maybe I could do this.
Mhm. And the names like you mentioned of people like who introduced you to the music industry, it's pretty cool to see how like you come, and this goes back to where you said about, hey, let's move to Uganda, and then these things just started happening, start happening, and then you get into this, you get into that. But like right now, you are like an influencer in marketing, in video promotions, do restaurants, hotels, fashion, performances and dance challenges, which is it's crazy. And throughout this conversation, we're going to touch here and there about the things that you do when you're in Uganda. Not only that song with Chosen Blood, you have another song with Luyunga Music. Go
Hmm.
the have you dropped the video yet? Because you're working on the video.
No, it's like it's
Yeah,
almost done, but it's not done
it's
done.
almost there.
So let's give it like a
Yeah,
week.
took us. Let's give it like a week. But check us through the process of this song, like how you get to collaborate with him, like how did that project start about, and walk us through the whole project.
The Royonga project.
Yeah.
Um, so it all starts with a heartbreak.
We like that. Let's
And
start with the
Uganda.
heartbreak.
No, literally, it's Uganda's fault that I have a heartbreak.
Okay.
So, when I first came to Uganda, I had a boyfriend in the States who I was like madly in love with. And he actually came and visited me in Uganda for like a full month. Um, we pretty much had like no issues in our relationship, but what pretty much happened was like he had this very well established life in the US, and he kind of like understood his passion and like how to move with the passion, how to go down that road. He knew what he wanted. He knew who he was. And I just felt like a chicken without a head running around East Africa like, who am I? What do I do? Where am I? And the more time I spent in Uganda, the more I felt like things were aligning for what makes me happy and what makes me feel passionate. So I kept extending the time I was spending here, and he had to be home because of work. So after long distance for like 6 months, it got to the point where I was just like, I don't know if I'm ever coming home. And at that point, it's like, yo, what are we doing? So
Yeah.
that's pretty much why we separated. And it was like the most pain I'd ever been in my entire life. And I hope I never have to feel that again. The song is about that. It's about being super in love, but being on different paths and being unaligned. And when I envisions, what's the word for envision but through your ears?
Maybe thought. I don't know. But thought is not through your ears. So your
Not
brain.
envision, but
Oh,
in here.
okay.
I
Okay.
think we need to invent a
The
word
listeners,
right
will,
now.
the listeners will figure it out.
All right. When I imagined, let's go with that.
Okay.
When I
Yeah.
imagined the song in my head, it included a rap. And when I thought about the rappers that I'm aware of, that I have access to here in UG, Royonga was the best, most perfect fit for the style I wanted. So I approached him, I told him the idea, and we just did the thing really fast and naturally. It was like the smoothest project I've ever done.
No, the song is really good, and I'm honored that we're able to hear that behind the scenes of where the song come from, like where you got it to make that song happen. And I feel like songs that have a behind story like that actually touch a lot of people because you're not the only first person to go through a heartbreak. Like a lot of people go through the heartbreak and it's like a tough decision for them. So I'm sure when the audio is already out, I think I've had it on Instagram and stuff, but we can't wait for the visuals. I've seen some of the snippets on your Instagram and you getting ready for it. But also like you've done like a lot of content in Uganda, and when you just got here, I thought you were the one speaking Luganda in the background. How is your Luganda? I saw one video say your Luganda is not Luganda.
All I have to say is pola and pola. It's bad.
Okay.
It's bad.
Yeah.
But I can I I feel like a lot of people when they're speaking Luganda, they end up mixing between Luganda
With
and
English, yeah.
English. Lingish. I can do that. I feel like I know a lot of like the basics and like the slang words and even the entire language that Ugandans can speak just with mouth sounds.
The J.
Yeah. It's like a whole language.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the
Like-
words I can speak, and I think it helps me express myself, and it helps people laugh too.
But it looks like you have a lot of fun in Uganda, like from seeing your life. Like, I mean, we don't know. We only see what we see on Instagram, but like from what we see on Instagram, like looks like you really enjoying Uganda. You love your time in Uganda. I know it comes with difficulties that we can't see, that you only know sometimes. Which I think it's on everybody. Like even me as a Ugandan living in America, you have your outside other life that people don't see on Instagram. It's like, oh, this guy is in America, he's enjoying life, he has this blah blah. But there's a lot of other things that you go through that other people can't see. What has been some of the challenges as a white person living in Uganda that you've gone through that you can share with us?
I started laughing early. Okay, let me start with.
Besides language.
Besides, like, I mean, honestly, language hasn't been that challenging because, especially in Kampala, so many people speak English. Um, but I mean, I'll start with the obvious one where everyone thinks I'm filthy rich.
Yeah.
And I have to like get one of my local friends to make all of my phone calls for me in regards to like pricing for this or costs, so that they don't overcharge me.
Hmm.
That's definitely a challenge. A lot
Yeah,
of
for sure.
a lot of people forget, like, it's one thing if you're on like an American salary and you live in Uganda, but
Hmm.
I'm not.
Hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
on an American salary. So what I'm making is like, it's the same as what other people are making who are doing the same thing as me.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's definitely a challenge. That's the obvious one. Um, and then I would say, you said as a white person, I don't know if this is necessarily a white person challenge, but more just a female challenge. And this is global, but I have a lot more problems here with like male businessmen male businessmen wasting my time. Like, they might be interested in me, or they think I'm pretty or something, so they call me for a meeting. I spend transport, I spend time, and then the second that they figure out I'm not going to sleep with them, there's no
Hmm.
business.
Right.
That happens like 5 times a day. So I got to the point where like I won't go anywhere to have a meeting unless we first had like a phone conversation. Cause wow, I have wasted
Hmm.
my time and my money on transportation on those meetings. So yeah, that's infuriating and consistent.
Yeah. No, that's a big one. And I don't know, like I thought about that because anybody, yeah, you think about that being in a different country, working with the people in there, you like you say, it's not only a white person problem, like most of the female go through that, and it's a big challenge. But yeah, it's crazy. And I give a lot of respect to women who stand on business and just do what they gotta do, and they get the work done through even those struggles. But also, the other one I really liked was "You're the ambassador of soft life." I don't know if you remember ever saying that.
I saw it. I was like, yo, I'll take that nickname. No problem.
Yeah, who gave it to you?
Mbu. Mbu.
Oh, Mbu. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mbu, the Instagram page.
Yes. That was given to me by a tabloid.
Why did they give it to you? Like, what made them give you that name?
I don't know. I never asked them, but I feel
Yeah.
like if you check my feed, you can land there.
Shout out to Mbu. I usually collaborate a lot with them on my posts for the podcast. They collaborate with me. Mbu, it's a great page. They have a lot of funny content from Uganda that gets me laugh. So
They
just want to send a
do.
huge shout out to them. But I think where I saw it, the ambassador of soft life was you were eating, I think, street food, and
Uh-huh.
you're like just eating. That's when I saw that. So you like which food in Uganda don't you eat, and how do you feel about street food?
The one I don't eat?
Mhm.
Huh.
Do you eat
Um,
grasshoppers?
no. I guess that's my answer right
Okay.
there.
I just gave you. Oh no, no. Find another one.
Find
That one
another
doesn't count.
one.
It's mine. Yeah.
I feel like I eat almost every. Okay, I don't eat
Yeah.
fish. I don't eat fish.
Oh
And I
really?
know like a lot of people like fish in UG. Yeah, I don't
Hmm.
know why. I just never got into it. It's
Yeah.
fishy.
It's fish. I used to eat fish, but I don't eat a lot of fish, especially from Uganda, because they leave the bones in there. And like the fish here in
Yeah.
America, it's like well processed. Those bones can like prick your mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
So
By the
that's why I
way,
stopped eating it.
speaking of soft life ambassador, yo, Americans are used like we just get like the fillet.
Yeah, 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 for
We
sure.
we we didn't even know. I remember the first time I had fish with bones inside, I was in Fiji. And
Mm.
they gave me the full fish. I'm looking at it. I'm like, how do I do it? I'm like, like, yo, people eat fish like this. And then I found out that that was like most of the world eats fish like
Yep.
that. And I tried. I got hurt so many times. And then this last time I came back to Uganda, this I stay with someone I work with. He's like my assistant, but also
Mhm.
my friend. He went out to
Yeah.
get us luambo on like my third day back, and he brought me fish luambo, thinking I liked it. And I'm sitting there,
Mhm.
I'm pretending like I'm enjoying because I don't want to let him know that, you know, I don't like it. But then the bone cut my throat. I was coughing for like 1 hour.
Because
I was
the
like,
bone was stuck.
yeah, I was like, take this, never again.
That's the same reason I stopped eating fish, because when I was little, nobody does that for you. And when you're a young boy, like when you're a young kid, if you eat it or your parents think, oh, you're old enough to pick it out and you do it wrong, you're gonna leave some bones and noodles. That I hated that. I hated that feeling. So I just quit fish at all. Like even the one in the US that is processed with bones out, I still don't eat it because I just hate the feeling of fish.
Trauma.
That, that's crazy to hear your journey into that. But yeah, we'll go back into your music industry a little bit. You've performed. I think I saw on Instagram they invited you to perform at a was it album launch somewhere where you went and spoke.
Hmm.
Um,
Right, that
what was
was
it?
Royonga's album release
Yeah.
party.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't like perform. I just kind of like, you know, we went through the whole album plus my track with him. So we
yeah, yeah.
kind of just like, you know, sang over the normal
Mhm.
track and I hosted the event. It was dope. I have like one and a
Yeah.
half songs right now, is what I say.
What?
Cause
1.5
one and a
songs.
half songs. Cause both I have
Okay.
two releases only so far, and they're both collabos. So it's like
Hmm.
I'm just waiting to put out like wait till I have like 4 songs out and have a couple
Yeah.
singles included. I feel like me doing performances right now is kind of weird
Yeah.
because they're both collaborations. So yeah, I've
Hmm.
done 3 performances and I'm really looking
Hmm.
forward to doing more once I have more
Yeah.
music out.
And that's funny that you say that, because just this week I saw a tweet where some Ugandans were telling, I don't know if you know this artist Melissa Malonji, she lives in Germany. And they were telling her, "Hey Melissa, you should do a concert for us in Uganda, or like
Hmm.
performance." She's like, "With my 4 songs and like 2 collabs or something like that, I think Uganda deserves better." And like that's definitely what you're just saying. Like I think people deserve better if you only have like you're still working on your songs and people ask you to perform or present that.
It's a challenge. You have to have enough material.
But you also like do bar promotions. So how do you get into bar promotions and the job? Like you don't only work with. I think I've seen over 5 bars. There might be even more than that that you work with. There's Hangout. I've seen you at Nomads. How do you get into that?
There's too many bars, man. Just know any bar that still exists, I've probably worked there
Yeah.
in the last 3 years. But again, through Judith Hurd, I met Maxime Chizito, who has been, I think he was also on your show recently, and he
Hmm.
has obviously been in the bar scene for a long time. So when we met, it was like 2 Mzungus called Max.
Hmm.
And in his mind,
The
he was like,
Maxes.
aha. He was like,
I
wait,
saw that sometime.
this is a good brand, the Maxes. So he kind of
He's a
like,
hype man.
yeah, so he kind of like invited me into the nightlife and we worked together for a long time. And then at a certain point, I went solo. I like to have control over my own business negotiations and
Mhm.
creative direction and XYZ. So yeah, now I run the show.
I was gonna ask you because I saw you back at Nomads, and I know he works at Nomads on Wednesday when you went back there. So are you not working on Nomads Friday all the time?
Yeah, every Friday I'm at Nomad. Max and I started the Black Bottle Wednesday with Bel Air,
Okay.
which is still going, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But it's changed hosts quite a few times. I think Max is on Saturdays now, and I'm on Fridays. So yeah,
Okay.
it's forever evolving. I have 4 nights at the moment a week, which is like 3 more than I would like to have. But when you're funding your own music career, you gotta work hard.
Yeah, you gotta work hard, push those shifts. How do you think that's going? Like, how, Uganda, Max was here and he said Uganda has over like 200 bars. Like every corner there's a bar. There's a bar that's studying. How do you think that is changing? How is it going in Uganda? And one funny thing, and this is just illusional. It's a dream. I had a dream, and they had cut. I think they had cut alcohol from all restaurants in Uganda, and they said no restaurant in Uganda should supply alcohol. I was like, how the heck is Uganda going to perform? Like, continue? I think the whole country will shut down if that
No,
happened.
you know what would happen? Like millions of refugee applications for abuse and neglect, civil rights.
Well, I think if that happened, they'll get more people on the what's that thing they did the other day? Not a riot, at the
Protest.
for the stop corrupt march for corruption.
Mm-hmm.
They were marching for corruption. I think if they stopped alcohol, they'll have more people out demonstrating.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. No, Uganda, I forget which number. I looked it up the other day. I think they're number 7 in the world for alcohol
In drinking?
consumption.
Oh wow.
It's
Wow.
not great.
Yeah.
But, very fun place.
I think in America, when you hang out with Kenyans, now Kenyans are different breed in drinking. Kenyans are crazy. Like you can't. I don't know how they are in their country, but the Kenyans I've hung out with in America, those ones you go to a party with them, you can't match that energy. No, they're
Really? But they're not on the list.
Oh, they're not?
They're not. I wonder if it's because you're now used to the US, and when you hang out with Kenyans, you're like, whoa, this is a lot of alcohol.
Maybe that's what it is. But maybe it's the Kenyans in the diaspora. The Kenyans in the diaspora are a different breed.
Yeah,
but
true.
Yeah, maybe your answer is correct too, because but in America too, people drink. What was America in the list?
They're not in the top 10. It was mostly Europe. Germany.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Germany would be definitely there.
I mean, Germany's like famous for beer. Russia, vodka.
Speaking of alcohol, you posted the other day that you work in the bar 24/7, but you're trying to quit alcohol.
Yes.
How is that going, and what made you come to that decision?
Well, first of all,
I'm sorry, that was me. I take it. I take one for the team.
No, but in all seriousness, just my little disclaimer here. I have like a chronic cough, and I felt like taking one Smirnoff would maybe calm that down so I could talk. But actually, it's been going really well. I started 2 weeks ago, and out of 4 nights a week, I've had drinks on 2 nights. So that's 2 out of 8, 1/4 of my last 2 weeks at work. And I didn't get drunk. I just had like a couple that, customers bought for me. Because being a host is like kind of complicated. You want to be sober, but it's literally your job to get people to buy you drinks. Specifically as like a female host, you're supposed to try to work the room, get them to buy you things. So then they buy you something and you're like, but I wanted to be sober. What do I do?
Yeah.
So it's a tricky minefield, but I'm proud of myself for how well I'm doing so far.
I think I asked you a follow-up, like what made you wanting to do that, like to quit some alcohol? Is it because you just wanted, like why did you make the decision to cut out some alcohol?
Yeah, I mean, it's not my goal necessarily to be like 100% off. I don't have like an alcohol problem. I did, not
Okay.
in the form of an addiction, but basically I would describe myself as like right in the middle of introverted and extroverted.
Hmm.
I really like talking to people, but like hosting 4 nights a week is so much social battery. And when you're
Hmm.
sober and everyone's drunk and you're an attractive woman, sometimes you just want to punch someone in the face. You know what I mean? So alcohol kind of became like my coping mechanism for like not being a jerk to people when I have to be in the
Hmm.
bar for like 10 hours 4 nights out of the week and everyone's hammered. Um so I was just over drinking and I would wake up every day hungover. My body would feel bad. My head would feel bad. I was exhausted. Even on the days I wasn't working, I would sleep. Like I needed to sleep for like 2 days just to recover from those four. So it was just like a health choice. I was like, if I'm gonna keep
Hmm.
doing this because I need to work, I need to
Hmm.
find a way to cope with human beings that isn't
Yeah.
alcohol.
I like that because it's a choice and you chose to do it, not like somebody forced you to do it, and it's for your own good. And kudos for you for achieving that. And when you explain that, like dealing with drunken people when you're sober, is one of the worst thing you've ever want to go through in life because it's crazy. But on top of your promotions and events that you do, you've done this hip hop. With I don't know how it's called, but it's in like hip hop. I've seen you on posters and stuff with like Spider MC. It's one
Mm.
time I saw you with Babaluku. Babaluku has been a guest on the podcast. What pushed you into that? Are you so like? Do you love hip hop that much to promote the hip hop in Uganda, or is this a gig too for you?
It's not a gig.
Okay.
Definitely not a gig. Um, I love hip hop. I don't think it's as much about hip hop specifically as a genre as it is about like the kids who participate. I don't want to say kids, but like young adults of
Hmm.
legal drinking age who participate in the event because the event is centered around showcasing your talent. And a
Hmm.
lot of the people, most of the people that come from the ghetto. They come from Busabala, which is where Spider's from. And they come because they love him. And so many of them are so incredibly talented, but they don't
Hmm.
have platform. So basically, the event is to give platform. So we host all of these young people and they perform their music. We try to get it out there as much as possible on social media and things like that. And yeah, that's really more so the passionate bit is just
Hmm.
like giving platform to young people who have talent.
That's really good. And when I saw that, that's why I wanted to see what's your connection with hip hop. And I think that's a genre too, like has a lot of youth that wants to go into hip hop because hip hop has influenced a lot of kids, even in Uganda. Like from watching the American hip hop, all the kids now want to do that, and it's been neglected too. And seeing those people that you had there, actually, that's the source of hip hop, the Spider MC, Babaluku, and those are the people that have love for hip hop at heart. And seeing you like collaborating with them is like it's good. It makes me happy because there's a lot of talent in Uganda. You just not has not been discovered. There's a lot of people in Uganda who do a lot of things. Like even with this podcast, like when I did it, a lot of people just haven't heard about it or they don't have knowledge about it. But we're there. We do the work. It's just people just don't know us. And when you find people who give you the platform or people who we say, hey, let me come collaborate with you. Let me do this. And that's something we need in Uganda as a country. I appreciate sometimes, yeah, I reach out to the guests to have them on the podcast, but when I have people reach out, hey, I want to be on the podcast so I can talk about this and this, it's helping me and it's helping them. And like the people that I've had on the podcast, hosting Apers, who was really loved the show and he loved being interviewed and being here and having fun. But even before him, like you see that there was a lot of people coming out. emailing, like the one thing I shared with you. No, I didn't share, but you saw on my Instagram today about the guy who sent me an email. Like, oh, thanks for this show and blah 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 blah. It's an email thanking you of what you do. People get to notice you because you have this platform that you put out there. So that's thankful, because when you have that platform, a lot of people are going to notice these youth that are on a drinking age, like you called it, um, and see their talents and support them. But so thank you for doing that, and it's really amazing. In some of the fun stuff that you've done in Uganda, one of it I talked about when we are trying to figure out how I got Delaware in my head, Delaware River. Okay, was you went rafting. You've done that before in the US? That's scary.
No, like I've never done that at home. Like I've done tubing down like a
Mhm.
very calm, relaxed
Yeah,
the Delaware River, but
kayak,
I've done kayaking, but again, like very calm waters. I've never
right?
done like rafting,
Rough,
like
yeah,
whitewater
yeah.
rafting. It was intense, but it was so cool. And I would 100% do it again. By the way, quick shout out. That company is called Pack Raft the Nile, and everyone should go do it.
I saw the video, and yeah, I've done the same thing. I've been kayaking, like even last weekend. No, the weekend before that, I went with my friends kayaking, and it was fun. I took like 10 guys on the river, and we're just cruising down, drinking and just chilling. That's the best time. You just go down the river, and it's slow. But the first time somebody invited me to go kayaking here in America, I was like, hell no, because I know how the River Nile is. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
there's probably alligators, the crocodiles there. The water is like so fast. I'm gonna jump into like a fall somewhere and I break my leg or something like that, or something will eat me. So I said no to kayaking, and they convinced me. It's like, no, 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 no. The rivers here are smooth. You just go down the river, and I liked it. But when I saw your video, I'm like, not in a chance. I'm gonna like, what came up to you like to cool you down to do that? Like, are you tied into that boat that you can't fall out, or what?
Oh no, I fell out.
Oh my god.
No, because if you get tied in, then if you flip over, you'll probably just drown because you'll be tied.
And I don't know how to swim. That's the other thing. I can't swim
Well,
so
I
bad.
mean,
Like, I mean, I
we
can
had
for a little
life
bit.
jackets, so you don't need to know
Okay.
how to, how to swim. If you fall out, you're just gonna float to the top. And we also had
Yeah.
helmets for safety. Everybody in my group fell out at least once. A couple people fell out twice. No biggie. You
Yeah.
just float. They catch you and they put you back in your boat.
Mhm.
But I think when I agreed to it, I didn't think it was gonna be as intense as it
Yeah.
was. But by the time I got to like, there was like this last rapid, and it was like the most intense one of the day.
Mhm.
And I was the only person in my group. They were like, hey, you can decide to do it or sit it out. Everyone else sat out. But for some reason at that point, I was just like, you know what? I've conquered a lot before this
Yeah.
moment. let,
Mhm.
let me just do this because the adrenaline is like real. It kicks
Yeah.
in and you just feel like the Hulk.
And yeah, you're talking about tubing behind the boat, right? I've done tubing on behind the boat where they're just pulling you and just. I try not to fall in the water, but if I fall, I have a life jacket so I don't like drown. But the boat is pulling you like super fast on those waves, and you're just hitting it. So yeah, that's the closest thing I've done. But with the river, I feel like it's going so fast, it's gonna like pull me, and then nobody will find me, and nobody will ever. I'll end up in Egypt somewhere.
You know what? Worse things have happened than getting to visit Egypt visa free.
So free. That's funny. That's funny. Have you tried bungee jumping or skydiving?
No, not yet, but I want to do
No.
both. I have done hang
Okay.
gliding. Do you know what that is?
No.
Hang gliding is like skydiving's baby cousin.
Okay.
You have to like jump off the top of a mountain or something, but you're essentially attached to like a kite, like a glidey
Okay.
thing. So you just like
Hmm.
casually glide down to the bottom. It's very
Hmm.
slow and chill, but very
Yeah.
high.
No, I think I've made my peace that I'll never do bungee jumping. But
Hmm.
funny thing, I'll try skydiving. I've said this multiple times because skydiving, I think I'm going down with somebody.
No, I don't like your logic.
So that's what I literally said on the podcast. I said I'm going down with somebody. So my hope is in the person who is taking me down. But bungee jumping, I'm on my own. So if I die, I'm
No,
dying
you're on
alone.
a
But here,
rope.
I know I don't trust the rope. I'd rather trust the person.
No, I don't trust people.
Okay.
By the way,
So you'd
wait.
rather trust the rope than people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done indoor skydiving. So
Okay.
I feel like I got a sense, at least a little bit of a sense to what it feels like,
Hmm.
but it's so intense, man. All I got to say is don't
Yeah.
wear makeup on your way down because your whole face is like, have you ever seen those pictures of people who get like a leaf blower on their
Yeah.
face and their mouth is like
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll be like crying. My mascara was everywhere. There was just like tears and probably spit and just like flying up. It's not cute.
Oh my god. Oh, anyway, it's funny to hear your experience. And you've done? Did you do the indoor in Uganda or in the US?
No, that was Las Vegas, baby.
Okay, Las Vegas. You're a world traveler. I think you've name dropped like 5 countries throughout this episode, like where you've been: China, Fiji, US, where everywhere. Oh my god. But anyway, we're almost coming close to the end of the podcast because I've had here for a long time, and but there's a few things I want to wrap up with.
Mhm.
Not forgetting your tattoos. You have a lot of tattoos. I lost count. I was trying to count, and then I lost count. I think I stopped at either 8.
I also lost count. If you're gonna ask me how many, I don't know.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you. But like, what? I know you love all your tattoos. I know you have an airplane somewhere.
Mm.
Um, what does that mean? I work with airplanes here in the US. Like I'm an aircraft mechanic. So that stood out to me when I saw that.
So, what does it mean? Is
Yeah. Why did you get the airplane on there?
Mm. It's definitely not the generic like, "Oh, I love to travel. Let me get an airplane." It was a specific story. I was in Australia and I was going to this like small little island. And to get there, we had to take like a 6-seater seaplane. And the island was so small, it had like a really small runway. So we had to like fly circles around it, going like lower and
Mm,
lower and lower every time till eventually we
yeah.
landed. And the seaplane was like tilted diagonally, so I could see a silhouette of the plane in the ocean.
Mm,
And it was just like, I don't know why it was such a special like experience. I had never seen that before. And it
yeah.
just like really stuck with me. And I was like, I'm gonna get a tattoo of this memory.
No, that's cool. That's definitely a cool story. I think for me, when I see people, when I was younger, we used to judge people with tattoos because of our background,
Mm,
because of the lack of knowledge. And I would say that, put that out. But I've grown not to judge people with it because people do put their tattoos on there because of something. They have a reason why they put it on there, and it's it has a meaning, and I respect that now. I appreciate it, and actually, I've thought of getting my own tattoo because of what I feel like. Okay, this is a good meaning. I want to have it on my body, so I remember it, and it's permanent on there. So that story is really cool. It's like every time, oh, it's a conversation starter too. Like for somebody who was an introvert, somebody looks at your tattoo, is like, oh, where did you get that? And there you like get to meet people and brings a lot of good things in life. And that's why on this podcast, when I host somebody with a tattoo, I ask them about that because I want to help more other people who have the same mentality that were given when we were little about tattoos. Like people with tattoos are bad people, they're
mm.
spoiled people, they're bayai. I don't know if you've had that word in Uganda, muyai. Or bayai. No,
Moyai.
muyai. Oyo muyai. Like, oyo muyai. That guy is muyai. It's like, yeah, I don't think I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but like, yeah, it's not a so good word per se.
Mm,
But yeah, I try to change other people's mindset because there's a lot of people in Uganda who listen to this podcast, and when they listen to it, they listen to your story of a tattoo, it changes their perspective, and that's my goal. So people don't only think of how we were raised. I mean, we were raised right, but some of the things we were raised with, it's not actually truth, you know.
mm.
But
Stigma,
so I appreciate you saying that.
for sure.
The other question I want to ask you is your relationship with other Europeans or Americans or white people in Uganda. How is it like being doing what you know? People coming, well, like white people coming in Uganda to do different things, and
Mm,
what has that been like for you? And is it like us here? Because when you're in America, you meet a Ugandan here, they're always in competition on who has what. Like you have this, I want to have this. You have a house, no, I want to have that. How is that like with other people in a foreign language in a foreign land?
that's really interesting. And I feel like this could be such a massive conversation. Like this could be
Hmm.
like an entire
A whole
a
episode.
whole episode dissecting this. Um so there are foreigners and then there's Muzungus. which
Muzungus.
which one are you asking me about?
Muzungus.
Yeah. So, okay, in my experience, first of all, I don't have too many Muzungu friends. Um, I I've noticed a lot of Muzungus here, they kind of live in their bubble of foreigners or people from their literally like their home country. For me, I feel like why live in Uganda and hang out with only Americans? Like it doesn't make
Mhm,
sense. But the other thing I've noticed is like a lot of them are doing different types of work that surrounds helping or
mhm.
like saving that kind of
Okay.
work, nonprofits or
Mhm,
diplomatic work or XYZ. Um, and there isn't this culture of like needing to show off. They actually dress pretty badly. And when they
mhm.
go to the bars, a lot of them, they don't buy the bottles, they buy beers. So the culture is just very, 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 very different. And again,
Yeah.
we could dissect this for like literal years.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's been my experience, and
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like there's a interesting category of Muzungus who come and live in Uganda who I don't
Mhm.
feel that I necessarily resonate with so well.
Definitely, definitely, and that's something that some of us like. Myself, because I came up with this question. It's not anybody else that gave me this question, because I think about that. I think about that, and before I even ask you the question, I gave you the perspective of how I am meeting other Ugandans in the US. What it looks like. They always have some sort of like competition in like things you do, and I wanted to hear from your other side. But you talked about like some people who come, and I know a lot of them because I grew up in Uganda. We used to have missionaries who would come to Uganda for good heart to help do whatever they do. But even when you lived in Uganda, it's not, you didn't go there as a missionary or whatever, but you've done some good acts that people maybe have not noticed, and like reading out to what you've done, collecting donations to empower children in Uganda through sports and education. You've done like those GoFundMe and health of you're an advocate for epilepsy
Mm,
disease and stuff like that.
yeah.
You've done some good acts. You did a bail for Bini Ganta's bail and raised some funds for that. So when people see your life on Instagram partying and do that, you have a good heart to help the people of the country. Can you talk about that for a little bit of how you have that heart to help the country where you live?
Sure. I mean, in my opinion, I think that like humans are just supposed to do what they can when they can, for who they can. Um, doesn't matter what your background is or where you're living. I think humans just need to be like showing up for each other. So I don't live in Uganda to help people. But if I can help people along the way in a natural way, like, why not? I feel, yeah, I just think that that's what we're supposed to do.
No, that's spot on. And actually, I like that a lot because it's not that you putting that, and you said it. It's actually a mic drop. I don't even have to add any more words to it. Like, you don't live in Uganda to help people, but while you're in Uganda, if you have the ability to help somebody, you give that help. Because I've seen a lot of people who put helping people first of their life, and then at the end of the day, they actually use advantage of that. Like, you remember I even helped you to do this. I went to Uganda and I did this and this that. And if they don't get back what they expect in their head of why they supported what they got, then
Mm.
it will be a bad thing at the end of the down the road. It's like, I even helped you because that was their intention to come and
Uh-huh.
help.
It's
And
transactional.
if they don't receive that love back of, okay, I gave you this and I want to receive this back. But while if you do that because that's not your goal, but you're just doing it, you really don't care because that's not why you're doing it. You just
Mm-hmm.
help along the way. So I think that makes more sense. It's more intended than what other people do. Anyway, Max, it's crazy. You sitting down here, I didn't even give you a hint on what I'm gonna ask you about. I said we're just gonna have a conversation and we're just laughing. I laughed hard. I really laughed. I People will see me wiping some of my tears out of my because it's just the way you dive into conversation, your answers, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna enjoy this. We covered a lot. We covered your journey in Uganda, your
Mm.
music, what you do in Uganda, and I'm sure all the listeners are gonna enjoy this. And that last question I asked you, where you said you have a whole episode about that, I really want that. So maybe sometime in the future, I'll have you down here and we dissect that and we talk about the life in Uganda as a Muzungu and what you go through. But before I let you go, I have three questions. Actually, for you, I'm gonna do four. I usually have three for my guests, but I'm gonna add another one, and I'll put that on first.
Mm-hmm.
What's a law? I stole this from somebody's podcast, Jay Shetty. So don't arrest me. I sent a shout out. What's a law that you would want to implement into the world and everybody has to follow it?
Hmm. No single-use plastics.
That's actually one answer. So I'm not gonna ask more questions, but I'm gonna just leave that at that. The second question: what's a life lesson you've learned in life to this point?
Mm. Self-advocation. It's one of the
Mm,
best skills you can learn. Teach yourself. No
yeah,
one will ever push or work as hard for you as you can. So you need to learn how to advocate for yourself, to your teachers, to your parents, to your bosses, and your peers so that you can live the life that makes sense for you to live.
that's deep. That's deep. That's also a mic drop. That's deep.
Should I drop
The
your
fi-
mic?
The other question I ask people: what gets you excited about life?
Hmm. Going with the flow, I guess. I used to fight really hard, I feel like, against the grain, working towards
Mm,
things that, like, maybe I didn't even care that much about, but I thought that I cared about. And the second I learned how to, like, just follow
mhm.
what's provided to me by the universe, that's when everything got dope. So, going with the flow, very exciting for better or worse.
Just wing it.
Uh-huh.
uh, um, the final question is a signature question for the podcast. Who would you like to see on this podcast next as a guest? And you're going to help me get the person on this podcast.
Fick Gaza.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, yes, yes. Actually, we didn't even talk about him on the whole episode because I was going to ask you about Fiki Gaza, but I like that guy so much. I like him
Me
so much.
too.
I like Fiki Gaza. So please, if you can get me Fiki Gaza on the podcast, I won't even ask no questions about him, so we'll let him talk about himself when he gets here. So, Fiki Gaza, we're waiting for you. What's his symbol? He does. Let me see if I can do it. If I fail to do it,
Listen,
then
God
it
knows
does.
I've
It does.
tried.
It does. Fiki Gaza, I failed to do
My
your
hands
symbol,
don't
but
do
I'm trying.
that.
Fiki Gaza, I've tried. Oh yeah, unless I do it by hand and then I do this. And then I
Well
do it. Fiki
done.
Gaza,
Well
we want
done.
you on the podcast. I faked it. But thank you very much, Maxi. Max, any final word you want to say?
Not much. Just I love you all. I appreciate you all, and I have so much gratitude for specifically Ugandans and how you've welcomed me into your country with open arms and patience and love. So yeah, thank you so much. I love your country. Thanks for making it home.
Let's go. Let's go. Hey there, my name is Bonnie Chibuka, the podcast host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching and listening to my podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, leave a feedback on this podcast because that's how we grow. Thank you very much and be blessed.
Smirnoff is here. Let's get it. Thanks, guys. Wait, can we open? Oh God, I don't know how to do that. I was already dying of coughing. Now you want me to swallow metal.
I think I need to reach out to Smanov to start sponsoring my shows because every guest that comes here, I get them Smanov. So I
For
need to
real?
talk to Smanov Uganda.
Am I allowed to show it or I can't?
Yeah, you can. I'll still reach out to them. I'll tell them, hey, you guys need to give me some support. Because, yeah.
Thank you. I honestly think this will help. Like, I didn't think I was going to drink alcohol right now. And I definitely wasn't thinking about alcohol until you brought it up.
All right. Take a sip and see if that will help.
Oh, yeah, that's the medicine.
Feels better.
I can feel my diaphragm calming down already.
Okay.
All right.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. So you said do whatever I want, pretty much, yeah. Yo, what's up? This is Max Noir. I just did the Uganda Boy Talk Show at Dance Off Studios. We talked about my music, my experiences in Uganda, the food, my new kitten, and so much more. So tune in for my episode.